Let's bring in Alan Shipnuck. He is a writer at large for Scratch and the author of the book, Rory, The Heartache and Triumph of Golf's Most Human Superstar. He joins me live this hour from Carmel by the Sea, California. Welcome back to the show. Your book's about the most human superstar. Tiger Woods may be the most human superstar that we're looking at right now. What are you hearing from your sources? Everybody in golf talking about this tonight.
Yeah, it's a melancholy feeling in the game. You know, Tiger's had so many chances. So many people have tried to get him help, and he's still on this self-destructive path. And it makes you worry about his future. It makes you worry about his kids. It really has nothing to do with whether he's going to play in the Masters or not, or anything between the ropes. You just have to worry about the man and the human. And clearly, he still has his demons, and he's trying to get healthy, and it looks like he has a long way to go.
I mean, his body has been really banged up over the years, and of course made far worse by that accident that happened a few years ago. Can you talk about his struggle with some painkillers in the past?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a decade now. I mean, Tiger had his first DUI in 2017, and he had a cocktail of pills in his system. And then, of course, he had the rollover. That was kind of swept under the rug by the LA County Sheriff. They did not investigate that thoroughly. We don't know exactly what happened with that accident and what Tiger may or may not have been impaired by, but clearly he should not be behind the wheel. I mean, he's endangering himself and others. And, he broke his body in this maniacal pursuit to be the greatest golfer of all time. And he smashed up his life as well. And it's just sad to see the price that he's paid. And, you have to hope that this will be the wake-up call that Tiger needs. But for this now, 3 strikes and you're out. I think everyone in the game would like to see him drive nothing more than a golf cart for the rest of his life.
I mean, you've reported on him for so long, you know his inner circle, and you've said a lot of people in his inner circle are on his payroll, right? I mean, is there anybody who can sort of turn to Tiger and say, dude, you've got a problem, let's get you some help?
It may have to be his children. Charlie's now a senior in high school. Sam is off at college. They may be old enough now to take on that burden. There was one person who could speak, truth to power to Tiger, and that was his father, Earl. And he died in 2006, and Tiger's been on this downward spiral ever since. And there's clearly a vacuum of people around Tiger that care about him enough to tell him the hard truths. And so it may fall upon his children, and I would think that's who will finally get through to him, if anybody can. But he's surrounded by enablers and yes men and employees, and they're just not going to tell him what he needs to hear.
I mean, where does he go from here? I mean, there was talk about a potential comeback for him at the Masters. His body has been far from helpful to him for a long time. Sort of, what's the next chapter for Tiger Woods?
You'd like to say that golf could play a small role in his comeback, and now that he's turned 50, he's eligible for the Champions Tour, where you can ride a cart, and that takes some of the physical burden off of his leg that he mangled in his previous car accident. So he's not really fit enough to walk 30 miles a week during a tournament and all of the strain it takes to practice and get tournament ready. I mean, the idea that Tiger was going to contend at the Masters was a fairy tale. He's just nowhere near that. And so maybe he can take the pressure off himself, stop trying to be the player he used to be, kind of enjoy a more ceremonial role. I think he's addicted to the applause and the adulation, so maybe golf has to be part of his future. Yeah. But it's really secondary. It's about Tiger looking in the mirror and having some accountability for really the first time, and doing what he needs to do to get healthy.
Despite all that and all the problems, he is still by far the most popular person in golf. And if he's out on a course, there'll be bigger crowds around him than anybody else. He's the most transcendent player, perhaps, of all time in the history of the sport. I mean, is there anybody anywhere close to Tiger Woods since he entered the league?
Well, it would be Rory McIlroy. He's become this sort of global icon, and the way he won the Masters, sort of united the sports world. But, Tiger is the needle, and he has been. The sad thing is he's done so much to diminish his legacy off the golf course. Peak Tiger, no one's ever played golf like that. He was the most dominant player golf has ever seen. He was probably the most famous man in the world. He was universally beloved and respected. And that all ended on Thanksgiving night in 2009 when his domestic dispute, spilled out in the driveway and he ran over a fire hydrant and his secret world came to light. And it's been now, we're going on almost 2 decades of Tiger humiliating himself. It's with run-ins with the law, with photos of his private parts being spread on the internet, any number of controversies. And you almost wish that he just had walked away from the game at his peak, because he's just doing so much to diminish the Tiger that we used to love and that we remember.
But the reason he was so great is because he was that much of a competitor. And it is very, very hard for people who are that much of competitors to walk away. I mean, you look at somebody like Michael Jordan and others, there's not many on that level. It is not easy for them to walk away from sports and that high. Alan Shipnuck, thank you so much for your great reporting on this. And again, congrats on the book.
Thanks for having me.